Hey, YouTubers. Power's out in the house, so I can't work. So I'm chilling on the back porch, waiting for the power to come back on. Maybe I won't notice when it comes back on, and I can just sit out here and enjoy the nice weather. Um, Lately, I've been thinking a lot. I've always thought a lot about this, but lately I've been thinking a lot about the concept of childhood wish fulfillment, and uh, it might be obvious to you if you've heard the term why I think about that, because um, as you can tell from my videos, I have gobs of toys, and those toys, for the most part, are really about childhood or at least young adulthood wish fulfillment. Um, so I thought I'd talk about that for a moment. Um, I grew up pretty poor, I would say, single parent, um, and my mom didn't have well-paying jobs, and we lived a lot of the time with my grandmother, and she didn't make much money either. So we had a decent enough house, luckily, but not any really spare money for any toys. So there was a lot of stuff I wanted because I've always been kind of a geek. So I spent a lot of time reading about stuff. I would go to the hi-fi stores and the camera stores and collect all their literature and familiarize myself with the specs of everything and read catalogs. And I mean, oh my God, it was just nutty. I would just obsess over this stuff, but I could never really afford any of it. And it's not to say I didn't have a stereo and I didn't have camera. I told that story a little bit, but with the stereo, I had a series of hand-me-down stereos. I won't go into the details now, but heck, on one of them, I made the speakers for it. It sounds ridiculous, but I made the speakers out of some appliance boxes that I found that were double thickness, so they were cardboard boxes. And I bought some car stereo speakers and cut holes in the boxes and put the speakers in there and wired them up to the stereo. I'm not crying. I have an eye issue that makes my eyes water a lot sometimes. Anyway, um, so I just sort of made my own stuff if I couldn't buy it, and mostly I couldn't buy the nicer stuff. So, fast forward 20, 30 years later, and I'm a pretty successful software developer, and I have some uh, decent expendable, what do they call it? Anyway, I've got some extra money to spend on toys, and so I do. So that's what's going on. I was thinking as I was showing the stereo system in my last video, I was like, holy cow, I got a lot of crap in there. And it's all about having wanted a reel-to-reel deck, or always wanting to have a really nice high-end turntable. The B&O definitely was a very nice turntable, but I kind of always wanted a higher end one. And so those things that I always wanted, I can mostly buy now. I don't buy the highest end of the high end because I think it's ridiculous to spend that kind of money on it. So I try to buy on what I call not I, but what I know of as the knee of the value curve. You spend a little bit of money, you don't necessarily get a lot of value. As you spend more money, you get more features, more quality, your value increases. And then as you keep spending more money, you actually are getting a little less value for that money as you go along. So you may, spend, I don't know, $250, $300 on, let's say, a receiver. And that's going to be a pretty good receiver. Maybe you spend 1,000 and it's a really nice receiver. And then maybe you spend 5,000 and it's going to be really nice, but it's not like 5 times better than the $1,000 receiver. So I'm probably the $1,000 receiver guy, just using these crazy round numbers that I just made up. And that's where I tend to buy. Like the turntable I bought is really kind of in the middle of Project's line. It's more than I ever thought I would spend for a turntable, but you can spend a hell of a lot more. And I think probably your gains will be small, or I won't be able to hear them. Maybe some people can hear them, but I think the gains will be extremely small. It has been demonstrated by the fact that I, admit this table doesn't sound all that much different than my B&O, which cost me $200 in 1986, and the project was like $1,400 at the dealer. So I paid 7 times as much, and it's not 7 times better, folks. It's not. It's nice, and it's nice to use, and nice to touch, nice to look at, but you know, it's not 7 times better. So those are my thoughts on childhood wish fulfillment, and I just thought I would share that. I am aware of this gear thing, and my wife's very aware of it, and it's just one of those things, you know, where if you're a geek about hobbies that require equipment and you didn't have the money when you were young, you tend to kind of want to make up for that when you get older, and I actually tend to buy things from the time period where I wanted stuff and couldn't have it. So, for example, the Yamaha amp and tuner, I would have loved to have those things when I was in high school. I couldn't afford them. I couldn't even begin to afford them. And the Porsche, you know, I wanted a Porsche in the early 80s, so when it came time where I could actually afford one, I bought an early 80s Porsche. So, kind of blathering a little bit. Anyway, just thought I would do this while I'm sitting out on the back porch not working. I'll catch you guys later.